Hey guys, my name is Enwa and welcome to my Wayne Manor tutorial video. Now this is inspired by the Arkham Knight video game, and after a lot of time away from Minecraft and viewing all the support from my cinematic video, I am here revisiting this world and revisiting all my old content to give you guys the perfect tutorial. I'll be going through the block counts, the correct dimensions, and showing you the original blueprint that I used for this build. I'll be leaving out the interior design for you guys to design for yourself, and as well as that, I'll be also building this on a flat world. Now I'll be also using Litematica, so I'll be leaving the finished schematic in the comments or in the description for you to take. Now please share or like this video if you enjoy, and without further ado, let's get started. And before we go on to the blueprint, I just want to show you a quick block count. So this is from the Litematica mod, and the number that is on top is the exact amount that was used for this build. And the second number is how many stacks of that block it is overall. So I have rounded it up to the nearest one. So if there was some left over, I thought let's just go straight on to, let's say, 40 stacks of cyan terracotta rather than 39 point whatever. But there we go. Hope you can get all those blocks in time, and I'm going to go straight onto the blueprint now. And welcome to the flat world now, and I'm going to show you how to do this porch. So it will be going out by 3, by 2, by 2, by 1, 2, and then 7. And now we're going to go onto the walls. So one thing that I've done this time round is I have color coordinated it, so it's easier for you guys to know what color is actually how many blocks. So this little star will change eventually, but as of right now, the blue will symbolize 5 blocks, and the red block will obviously mean by 1. So I'm just sectioning it out as wall panels, so I'm going out by 2, down by 1, across by 2, and down by 3, and I'm repeating that over onto the same side. Now, one slight difference with this building is we have these massive columns at the back. So I'm going to grab some lime green wool and some dark blue, and the lime will mean 3 blocks and the dark blue will mean 6. So I'm just doing this little small pattern across like this. So we've got a nice big gap in between the inside. Now I'm grabbing my blue wool again, crossing it over, and I'm just grabbing some orange wool at the moment because this is kind of undecided in terms of how many blocks there is, but we'll go more into that later. Now I'm just repeating exactly the same shape on the other side, grabbing my dark blue wool and my lime green, and there we have it. That is pretty much what the building is looking like. So we're going to go a little bit further into the back and sorting out this porch. It is very, very simple. We're going to go out by 4, by 1, and by 2. That being done, there we have it. Let's get started on this build. So now that the dimensions have been laid out for us, it is time to focus on the foundations. So we're going to start out with this outside porch here, and I'm going to be getting my stone bricks, my stairs, my slabs, and also some andesite as well. So what I'll be doing is all of these yellow blocks that are touching the ground, I'm going to replace with these blocks here. Like so. And I'll also add one here and here, adding an additional one at the front. So now I'm going to get my stone brick stairs and start placing them in like so. Adding some upside down ones and some upside ones against each other to create a little groove in between the stone. So I wanted to add this little pattern to make it look a little bit nicer because this is just such a big bulk of stone just outside this house. So now I'm going to direct the focus on this part here. This is going to be slightly different. So I'm going to destroy this entire part here and add an upside down stair on one side and another one on the other. I will then attach this together with some slabs, and I'm going to replace this red wool here with some more stone. This will also apply to every single red part here, but we will get to that later. But as you can see, we have some gaps coming through, so we've got to block those up with some stone bricks. So I'm going to add some all the way across from this side, add some on here and here. And as you can see, it's now looking a little bit more polished. So what we'll be doing now is, to save blocks, we are going to cover this all up with some stone brick slabs. So I'll be adding this all the way across towards the door and all the right way around here. And I'll be filling this in. So now that's been filled in, I'm going to repeat exactly the same process on the other side, and hopefully we'll have a complete porch. And here we go, this is the complete version. And now we are going to direct the focus over here. So as I said before, we'll be replacing all of these red blocks down here with stone. And we're going to do exactly the same arch that we've got going on this side, attaching it like this. Now, instead of me using stone brick like this, I'll be using andesite as well, just to break up this stone block. So I'll be doing it exactly the same on this side, while adding the stone brick stairs and the slabs across. So now you can kind of see this kind of pattern that we're making, and we're going to repeat this all the way around the entire foundation of this building. Now, as we get closer towards this part, we're going to keep it exactly the same as these red blocks here. So these will just be a little bit bigger than the original 5 block gaps. And now we are complete on the foundation of the Wayne Manor. Just doing a quick scan around just so you can see. And now it is time to do a little bit at the back here. So I didn't want it to be too overly big, so we're just going to add in these blocks as so. And I'm just going to add one this side and here. And as expected, we'll get our stairs, bridge them across on either side, with our slabs of course, and adding in our stairs like so. And we'll go and cover these ones up and fill in the rest with some slabs. So that is that foundation complete. And now it is time to move on to the walls. Now I'll be focusing on this part here, all the blue sections as you can see. And we'll leave these other colors later on because they are slightly different in design. We're going to get started with our sandstone, and I'm going to replace the red blocks on either side and go up 7 times. Like so. And then what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get my smooth sandstone stairs, and I'm going to replace the bottom 3. Now on each side, I'm going to put this inwards to cause this like little curve in between the side of the box. Now I'm going to repeat exactly the same thing, but on the 6th block at the top, and this will also be upside down. Next, I'm going to grab my sandstone walls, and I'm going to place them on either side here, kind of joining up the 2 stair blocks in each corner. And I'm going to add just an extra layer on the top like so. So that is pretty much the detail of the wall done, but we also need to add windows and a functional wall on the other side. So what I'll be doing here, I'll be grabbing my smooth sandstone and popping it across this andesite block here. And I'm just going to cover it all the way around these walls. So as you can see, it kind of goes like the same kind of pattern here. And it looks a little bit more in depth on the other side. So that's when I bring my glass panes in here and add them all in. And there we go. We have our first wall panel. So I'll repeat this again on the other corner just so you can see it from a different angle. So I'm just going to remove all these blocks here. Go up by 7 again. Grab my smooth sandstone stairs. My walls. And then get my smooth sandstone blocks and pop that all around with some glass. So there we have it. That is what it's looking like. And as you can probably tell, this is going to be repeated on all of our blue blocks here. So this goes all the way across up to basically the towers over there and the front. So let's repeat this all the way around. So now we are starting to get somewhere, so it is time to move over to the back of the manor, and pretty much the same kind of style here on these green blocks. We are going to do it by 3. So I'm just going to go through this one side, so we're going to go up by 7 again, and get our stairs, adding them upside down with some walls, and then covering the back up with smooth sandstone, and then fill in this part with glass, and adding that additional wall at the top. So as you can see, this is much a squished version of this wall, and as you could probably tell, that'll be repeated on the other side where there's green. Same on over there, and although this is not green, but this blue section here will also be exactly the same dimensions. So I'm going to quickly go over through those, and then we're going to come back and we're going to focus on this blue part and then the front part of the house altogether. So as you can see, we've done them on these inside parts on either side of the buildings, and down here I've done exactly the same, and I've also got my smooth stone blocks across on either side to mirror that all together. While I'm still here at the front, we're just going to go for it. So I'm going to get my sandstone blocks again, and I'm going to go all the way up by 7. And repeat that on exactly the same side. And this is going to be slightly different, so I'm going to get my smooth sandstone stairs, pop them down here, and do it from up there again. And then I'm just going to cover this up in the inside here. And of course, add the walls on top. So that is what it's looking like. So there's no windows at the front and nothing at the back. As of right now, I'm keeping this clear. I think this might actually be covered up later on. But now it is time to move over onto the dark blue, and we are nearly there with the wall design. And as soon as we get this done, we can literally repeat this with pretty much all the other floors. So you know the drill by now. We're going to go up by 7 with our sandstone, all across on these red blocks here. And to make this a little bit easier, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my sandstone wall and just connect it all the way across. Now the design is going to be slightly different for this because, as you can tell, there's a lot of windows on every single floor, every single wall of this place. So instead, I'm going to be leaving this out with no windows. If you want to do it, you can, but for the sake of why I wanted to leave them out, I wanted to add some more stairs into this build, which are hugging against the wall, and that is mainly the reason why I've left these ones out. So we're going to continue doing very similar style. So we're going to get our smooth sandstone stairs, adding them upside down as well, all the way across. And then I'll be getting my walls again on either side. And then instead, I'll be also putting 2 in the middle, like so. So if you want to do windows, you can add some glass on either side. But in this case, I'm going to leave them completely blank. And I'll show you that in one moment. So then I'll be getting the sandstone and just continuing to go all the way across this entire wall here. So as you can see, that's looking a little bit better. And I'm just going to go over again on the other side. So I've already covered this all up just so you can kind of see it in better detail. Getting my walls back in. Like so. So now, although it's such a big part of the build, it has still got a lot of detail in it. And I've also done this side as well, so looking exactly the same. And now it's time to focus on this last part of the manor. So this is going to be a slightly different style. So we're going to go up by 7 again. And grabbing our stairs up by 6, adding that wall on the top. And then I'm also going to cover this in with wool as well. And then in addition, we're going to add walls on this side up here. Adding some upside down stairs. And crossing it over with walls again. So this is looking a little bit different. But we're going to add sandstone in on the other side. And I'm just going to go down by 2 blocks. Like so. And I'm just going to quickly fill in this part here with some stone brick. So that is kind of what the exterior is looking like. It's so nice to get this kind of completed. It's time to start going over the interior and the blueprint for the ground floor. So this entire level here of andesite is going to be completely spruce slabs. Now, this is just for now. You can use the other blocks once you've established different rooms if you want to have rooms in a different area. I am, just for the sake of this video, I'm just going to leave it purely spruce slabs. So anything that was a kitchen or a bathroom, I'm just going to completely leave it and let it be up to you. Okay, it is time to start cracking on with this blueprint. And I realized watching back on my old content, I never actually showed the final blueprint that I used for the original build. So I've gone back through the building, looked at every single block, and I have got the correct measurements for the blueprint. I'm going to go through it together. If you want to skip over this part, I will be dropping some images so you can just copy it from there. So, without further ado, let's start cracking on with this blueprint. So we're going to start off making these little shapes at the front, so by 2 by 2, and then on this side I'm just going to add a red wall block as sake of being a door, and I'm going to go out by 2 and then go across by 9, which pretty much will line up to this middle section here, and I'll join the 2 together. And now I'm going to go in by 1 and I'm going to go out by 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I'm going to leave 2 space gap and do exactly the same on the other side. Now we're going to focus on this area. So we're going to leave 2 gap space, adding a block here and going across by 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm going to make a little gap here again. Cross by 7 with a 2 block gap, and as you can probably tell, these will be our stairs. So now I'm going to go onto this side. I'm going to go up by 1 block here and go out and leaving some spaces for doors there, and I'm going to go across by 5 again, adding some more doors. And then basically going all the way across by 12. and linking it up like so. So doing this little kind of weird shape at the end, but making sure it fits in that middle part here. Once that is done, we're going to move over to this side, and I'm going to go across by 7. And then I'm going to leave a 3 block gap, add 1 block, leave another 3 gap, and go across to the end. And then from this section over here, we're going to link it together and add a door. So what we're looking at the moment is this would be the trophy room, a bathroom, and then this is the start of the ballroom. So we're going to section this part off over here, adding 2 doors there, and then we're going to add 2 doors again. And I'm going to make a little cross section right like this, like so. So we're going to have let's say a VIP room here, and then we're going to have stairs that will eventually go up here. So now we're going to move on to the right side. I'm going to go out 1 more block and another one again, and adding 2 doors. And now I'm going to go across by 11, and we're going to meet up with this window halfway. And I'm going to go back by 2 blocks here. So on the 3rd block, I'm going to add some doors. And then I've got this kind of odd looking shape here, like so. Now I'm going to go up by 5. A little corner, some more doors, and linking it across like so. And then I'm going to go all the way across to the other side, and adding just 1 extra block. And this is where I'm going to have some more doors. Now this part here is where some stairs are going to be. So we're going to go up by 6. And adding just an extra thicker wall on the other side. And this part here is supposed to be the kitchen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add 1 block here and 4 blocks on the other side. Now we're going to come down here towards this cross section. I'm going to go all the way across, leaving 2 blocks at the end for again more doors. And now it's time to focus on the main area. So I'm going to go all the way up towards the end, and I'm going to go out by 2 blocks and overall make a 14 block line. And then I'm going to add an extra block to the end of this 7 line and another one here. And to avoid further confusion now, I'm going to change those end blocks here with blue wool. I'm going to go out by 3, adding another block, again by 3, adding another block, and then that end should all connect up nicely. So these will be the wooden beams in our main hall. And then as we get closer to the front, I'm just going to add these 2 here as placeholders. And then I'm going to go out by 4 here and here. So that is how it should look. Now our blueprint has been laid out, it's time to talk about the interior walls. And I'll be using some smooth sandstone, some dark oak, stairs and planks, and some cyan terracotta. So when I use the smooth sandstone, it is usually in these back corners here, usually when the walls are from the exterior into the interior, rather than these ones here, which are from the interior to the exterior, if that makes any sense at all. So where we're going to start off, I'm going to start off here. I'm going to get my dark oak planks up by 2, and then I'm going to go up with terracotta up by 4. So that is how it should look like. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cover this entire area with the dark oak and the terracotta, and with the additional sandstone in either corner. And I'm going to leave this section out for the minute because when we're going to go through it, it's going to be a slightly different style. So if you want, you can fill up these parts, this like outdoor area here. But other than that, leave these ones out and we'll come back to it in a minute. So now the walls have been placed in, it is time to put our focus down here. So I'm going to get some planks and add them like so. Skipping 2 blocks and adding them up again. Then I'm going to get my stairs, adding them down and upside down to create this little kind of groove in there. And now we've got a little bit of detail going on inside. So I'm going to do exactly the same on the other side. And then we are going to go over to the main staircase and we're going to do it as followed. So adding exactly the same like so. And I'm just going to go all the way across with these planks. Now the reasoning for this is in the final version, I actually do remove these parts here, adding in some paintings, which will then become the entrance to the Batcave. But it is entirely up to you in where, if you have a Batcave located on your world, where it's going to be, where the entrance is going to be. Again, up to you. So now we are looking a little bit more put together, and I'm now going to get some dark oak stripped log, and I'm going to put these beams all the way up the top here. So this goes all the way across, replacing all of this blue wool. And then I'm going to join them together like so. And I'll repeat that over onto the other side. And now they're all joined up. So now we are getting a little bit closer to this great hall, and it doesn't look very great at the moment, so it's time to put some stairs in place, and they are very, very bog standard. So I'm going to grab some spruce stairs, and I'm going to go up like so on either side. And as this goes up, I'm just going to put the walls up like this. So adding all these stairs up, all the way to the top to this final part, which I'm going to add again. So the reasoning why I've put all these walls down is because it's acting much like a cross section between the ceiling and next floor above. So if I end up wanting to have a bathroom upstairs, but I can't because it's going to change the ceiling in the other floor, that's the reason why. So later on, when we cover up the ceiling, I'll be doing it as a half floor like this. So we're getting just enough height anyways. And when we start adding in the floor for the next level, it's going to be like this. So we're going to have like a half slab gap between the two. And as you can see, that will line up quite nicely. So moving on, we're going to do this onto the other side. And then we're going to go over to the front here. And we're going to only go halfway. So we're going to get these ones here, place them in. And we're going to stop at the 4th block. And I'm going to get some spruce slabs and place them across here. Now, in the final version, I actually decided to put some glowstone here and some brown carpet just to get that extra light in. So now I'm going to go this side and work my way up by 3. And stopping there. Again on the same side, like so. And now, because as you can see the stairs are going out, I'm going to get some upside down stairs and place them like this. Now the reasoning for this is I'm going to get my lecterns and some trapdoors, and we're going to start making this banister. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the lecterns, turn them the other way round, and place them all across here and up the top like this. Then I'm going to go over my trapdoors. and adding them on the top. It's quite tedious because you have to crouch when doing it. And I'll be doing exactly the same on the other side. So here we go. This is looking a little bit better. And what we're going to be doing now is, like I said before, with the floor and the ceiling, we're going to cover every single floor up with spruce slabs. So let's cover it all up again and let's talk the second floor. So I've gone and done all of that. And while I'm back at the start, I'm just going to cover these walls back up with the smooth sandstone. And I'm also going to just cross these two together and pop in these spruce slabs all together. So now this is what we're looking like. So we are leaving this entire area open and also this massive room here, as this will be our ballroom. So now I'm going to just go over the stairs on either side. So we're going to start with these ones and we're going to go up by 3, adding this cross section here and adding some more stairs. Now we're going to revisit this area. So this is actually slightly different. So I'm going to remove this wall here. And we're going to start from this section and I'm going to go up by 2. Adding a cross section, up by 2. Adding another cross section. And then adding some more stairs until we're at the top here. So can change this just a little bit, adding a few slabs, maybe stairs, just to make it look a little bit more of a gradual slope. And then I'm just gonna fill this all up like so. And this section down here I actually use as my basement entrance, but I'm gonna block it all up like this. So now we've got our 4th or 5th staircase added in. Okay, so now what we are gonna do is I'm gonna get the spruce slabs and start putting them all across here. And I'm going to go over all of the internal walls as well, going all the way around, filling it across. Now, I'm going to stop at this part here, all the way across, as you can probably tell. And I'm going to stop at the ballroom section too. And another good part to add is I'm going to leave the walls on this part here, just because since it is a staircase, I'm just going to leave those walls there. So I'm not going to fill this up with the spruce wood. And I'm just going to continue to go around it. So that is all of it covered up. And what I've also done is I've added some extra blocks from the walls from downstairs up onto the same level. I've added smooth sandstone blocks all across this area, and I've used the smooth sandstone stairs as a way to add the wall on one side, but not to the point that it will interrupt the wall pattern on the other. And I've also used this on the other side with the staircase and all across over here. So now this is all empty, it's time to put the exterior walls up. So we are doing exactly the same pattern again, and we're going to repeat this all the way around until it's complete. So the walls have now been put in, so let's talk about this part here, because now there's no longer a door. This is going to be a massive window that will lead once you get up to the top of the stairs. So what I'm first going to do is I'm going to get my smooth sandstone stairs and place them up like that. And then we're going to direct the focus at the front. I'm going to take my walls and go up an extra block. And then I'm going to grab some sandstone and then some smooth sandstone stairs and attach it across like this. So this extra layer is actually going to be the trimming. So when we start putting the roof up, there's going to be a nice kind of transition into that. So that's kind of what we're looking at. And we're going to fill this all up with some panes all the way across. Now it'll look a little bit funny at the moment, but once we get everything covered up, it'll look slightly more normal. And I'm going to just top that off with some more upside down stairs. So once we come on in, we've got that lovely massive window greeting us at the top of that staircase. So now let's go onto the front, and I'm going to grab some sandstone stairs this time, so not the smooth sandstone. and I'm going to pop them upside down on the 4th block up, attach it with some normal sandstone stairs. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to pop these upside down on this side and the other way on this side. And I'm going to grab my stone walls, I'm going to go up by 4, attach them together in front of these stairs, and I'm going to top this part up exactly the same. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my normal sandstone block, I'm going to fill this all up and get the stairs and create a little cross-like shape. So now we've got this nice little pattern going on at the front. Although it doesn't look exactly the same as it does in the game, it is pretty much there, you know? And now what we're going to do is we're going to top this off with some more smooth sandstone stairs. Top it off like that as well. And then on the inside, we're going to add another small window peeping through. So I'm just going to fill this all in like that. And now we've got a little tiny window with a nice detail at the front. And then we've got the back where we've got a nice window like so. So now that is pretty much walls completed. The only walls we're going to be doing now are the back, which will go up an additional 2. So now it is time to talk about blueprint number 2 for the first floor. So we've got these staircases that are dotted around, and it is time to kind of connect them up to proper rooms. So we're going to get started in the middle, and as I was going back and forth of the original world and this one, I have actually done the beams a block taller, so it goes up all the way like this, and then I connect these beams on this floor instead. So I'm going to do that like this. That goes all the way across to the other side. Now this eventually will be covered up with some brown carpet, but that should be fine. And I'm going to do exactly the same on the other side. And then I'm also going to pop it there and over here too. So let me quickly replace this and we'll be back in 1 second. So there we go. And then over here, I'm just going to remove these blocks and put some upside down stairs on either side. Like that. And then when I come on over, I'm just going to quickly connect these ones up too. So that should make a little nice shape, and I'll make it a little bit more polished. So do that on the same side. And now it's time to talk about the left side first. I think this is probably going to be the easiest version. So as you could probably tell, this in itself is a room. So I'm just going to pop these yellow blocks back down just so we don't get confused later on. And I'm just going to add one more extra block here. And now we're going to do a little balcony slash walkway above this ballroom. So I'm going to bridge this across like this and stop when I have a 1 block gap, and then pop these blocks across to this side. So I could just picture Bruce Wayne holding an event or a party or whatnot, and those guests that don't want to be in the ballroom can eventually go up on these stairs and have a little seat across this balcony, whether or not they want to talk about business or about other people at the party or just simply wanting to have a chat. That's the kind of approach that I was going with this. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to block this all up like this, all the way across until I have a 2 block gap. And I'm going to go over by 7. So meeting up with this block here. And I'm going to skip that one here, skip 2 blocks, and go all the way across by 9. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 10th, skipping 2 blocks, and continue to go all the way down like this, and leaving another block here ready for another room. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach these ones together. Quite simple. And I'm going to get another block here to kind of mark out where some stairs are going to be. So we're going to have some stairs going up like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to block this up like that, ready for that part. So we've got one room here, and we've got a small little room on the other side. So now, popping over here, we've got a little bit of a odd situation because this is kind of a weird looking room and kind of weird dimension overall. So the way that I approached this was I decided to turn it into a bathroom and a staircase. So it's kind of these dodgy bathrooms that no one kind of goes to, although I would not recommend it. So I have some stairs going up like this with blocks coming through like that, and I will eventually attach those blocks like so. So it's a very small room, and I don't actually remember how I kind of approached it later on, but it's okay, time will tell. And so now we're on this side. We're going to start popping some blocks down, leaving a 2-block gap after 1 block, and we're going to go across by 10. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, leaving another 2 blocks and going all the way across until we have again another 2 door space and a gap there. So now we're going to skip 1 block and we're going to start to go inwards, and we're going to go across to this corner here. And in the middle, I'm going to add a little door. Now this door can go anywhere, to be honest. It's just so I can connect the rooms together. But I decided to keep it just very close to the middle. So one side I have a sofa and the other side I have a TV. Now we're going to go on to this part. Actually, I'm going to move this over just slightly, a little bit further, just so I can give that room a little bit more space. And I'm going to go across by 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm going to go in. And I'm going to attach this across to where this extra room is next to the staircase. So I'm just again going to fill this all out. And now we have an extra room added in. So this is an office. And now this entire area here is a room. So I'm just going to add some blocks here. I think I just end up a 4 space. And that is what the right side is looking like so far. And now I'm going to go closer to the edge down here. And I'm going to go across by 1, skipping 2 blocks, going up by 5, leaving 2 blocks, 1 door for a bathroom, going out by 2 again, and then making a little shape like this, ready for, again, more stairs. So that's going to kind of look like that. So that's kind of what we're looking at the moment. So we're kind of decreasing the amount of stairs as we go up. I still kind of want to think of this side as a more public area and this side as a more private area. So now it's time to build up these walls. So we're doing exactly the same style as this. So we're using 2 dark oaks and going up by 4 with terracotta. And this area will still be sandstone because it's still kind of attached. Now this area here is going to be slightly different. So let's talk about this quick design. So I'm going to grab some smooth sandstone stairs and place them upside down as it's hugging the wall all the way across this entire area. And then I'm just going to destroy this yellow block. And I'm going to fill the rest in with some smooth sandstone slabs. So that's going all the way across like this. And then as the railing, I'm going to add some glass panes. And there we have it. That is this little balcony done. I think I might just move this slightly like that, just to give it a little bit of extra shape. But there we go. And what I've also done is just add an extra wall in. So with that staircase, we're just going to go straight up and it's completely isolated. So without further ado, let's get this second floor sorted out. And there we have it. That's all the rooms added up. And I've also added in these beams as well onto the second floor. And I've just missed out this one just due to spacing when I add in the statues. But now it's time to, once again, cover it up and talk about the next floor. So now this is going to be slightly different. We are going to start adding in the roof, and this area for the Great Hall is going to have a different design in terms of the ceiling. It's going to have more of a curved style, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my trusty smooth sandstone stairs and I'm going to just block this up so I don't have any interference with the walls, like so, and then getting the normal smooth sandstone, adding that one together. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it around, so we're going to look from the outside, and I'm just going to add a singular block on all of these ones on this side. So like I said before, these back parts are still going to continue to go up. So all across here is going to continue to go up just by one more block all the way around. We'll come back to the front later. And what we're going to do in between this is we're going to add a bunch of upside down stairs. So I'm going to start from the middle here. I'm going to go across like this, like that, and go all the way like so. So we're creating this little tiny little pattern of all these small little squares, and this will once again be covered up with some smooth sandstone. So I have gone around and done pretty much that, but there's also one more thing to add. Is, as you can see, there is a small little gap that hides between the blocks, and what I can do to fix that is I'm just going to remove these walls. I'm going to add some upside down smooth sandstone stairs and block it back up with a wall. So I've gone and done that with the rest of the walls as well. And it's all down to preference. If you prefer to keep that, or you just want to save your blocks and not use it, then you can. And then I'm just going to go on the other side, get my blocks, and just patch that up there. So now we're looking very, very blank so far. And it is time to talk about this front section here. So I'm going to start off by getting some sandstone, and I'm going to go up by 4 and joining it together like this. So we've got this small little square coming along, grabbing some more walls and some glass panes, and we're going to just make a little small window like this. And on this part here, I'm going to make a little triangular shape going on with these walls. And I'm going to get my sandstone and I'm just going to pop it on either side and cover that entire part up. So now we've kind of got a basic shape going on, and I prefer it to be a little bit more curved. So I'm going to replace this block with a stair version, doing that exactly the same on the same side. Then I'm going to grab a slab, pop it on either side, and adding a little point to the curve, just going to add 2 more stairs at the top. So that is what we're looking at. This is the front looking pretty good. And this will then be a little part that will go out before we start doing our roof here. So now I'm going to go back to the back part and I'm going to start talking about the roof design. So I have gone and grabbed some normal sandstone, some walls, birch fence, glass pane, white candle, and then the mud brick variations and a grey banner. So what we're going to start off with is the sandstone part. So from this block here, we're going to go up by 4. And I'm just going to do it on one side and then we're going to repeat it on the other. And we're going to do it by 4 here. And what we're going to do afterwards, we're going to pop a sandstone wall on top, then a fence, then the glass pane, and then a candle. And these are just like little tiny detail that's added on the building. So I thought, what better way to do it with a bunch of very strange blocks put together. So I'm going to do exactly the same like this. And we will also be doing it at the front later on, so I'll show you the exact positions for that. So that has been sorted out, and now we're going to get the mud brick stairs, and we're going to start off by placing them across here. So that will go all the way around on this part of the smooth sandstone. And what we're going to do is grabbing some bricks, and we're going to go out by 1, topping it up with some stairs, And we're going to repeat that again. More stairs. And then we're going to do it one more time, but just the block itself, and there's no stairs that are going to be covering that. So that will then eventually be covered with brown carpet. So that is pretty much the design of the roof. It is very simple, and it gives us so much more space to add another floor. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to repeat it on up to this point here. And then the design slightly changes because we're going to add some windows peeping through the roof. Okay, so that's been done. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add just another layer like this, just so it goes over here. And I'm going to repeat that on the exactly the same block on this side. So we've got a 3 block gap. And what we're going to do now is I'm going to add another block here, grabbing my stairs, adding on either side. And then I'm going to add them across like this. And I'm going to try and connect them all together like so. And topping it off with a mud brick slab. And I'm just going to cross it over like this. Then from the inside, you can either cover this with simple bookcase, because due to the distance, you're not going to see what's behind this banner. But as of right now, I'm just going to cover it up like this and adding a grey banner like that. So I'm going to do it one more time. So I'm going to go across by 3, adding those stairs, making sure we've got enough space all together. And the blocks, stairs, adding some more stairs. And covering it up from the inside and adding that other banner. So there we go, that is what it's looking like on one side. We will then repeat it over on this side, and then I'm going to quickly do that, and I'm going to show you the difference at the front. Okay, so this is how the front is looking. So we're going to add another column here, adding one here, and then I'm going to add some windows in on either side. So making sure it's kind of lining up with the windows like so, and that's exactly on the same side. And I'm just going to add a banner for now, but I will cover that up later. Getting my stairs, added them like this, connecting them all together, and sorted out. So repeating that on those two, these ones again, and that one as well. So leaving the sides completely clear and adding a little bit more definition to this place. So now this part has been completely filled out, and now it's time to focus on the front. So I'm just going to get my stairs, and I'm going to miss a block this time just so it gives a little bit of extra shape. I am then going to get my slabs and attach them across like this. And actually, I'm going to get my stairs, sorry, adding them like so. They're very similar to slabs when they're all joined together. Adding them like that. And then getting some more slabs like so. So now this is like a really nice gentle curve, and attaching it together with this whole build. And now, I'm going to say the roof design is pretty much there, but we've got to go back into the main part, and we're going to kind of cover all of this up. So we're going to have to talk about the Great Hall first, because the roof height is slightly different than the rest of the rooms. So I'm going to grab my trusty spruce slabs, and I'm going to add them onto this mud layer. I'm going to go out by 2 and 2 again. And then because I'll be lining up with beams, I am then going to cross them all the way over like this, all the way until I'm up to this point here. Like that. And then I'm going to carry on by going down by 2. So that is the whole heighting done. And it will then stop once we meet this wall at the back here. And I'm just going to connect these across just to make it look a little bit nicer and more polished. And that will go all the way across and we'll stop. But other than that, we are now going to completely just fill in the rest of this block here. Exactly the same with the half slab going across. And then of course adding the extra at the top. But the one last thing as well, we need to also talk about this ballroom. So we're just going to cover this entire part up so it's completely all together. So I'm going to grab some smooth sandstone slabs, and on this block here I'm just going to fill it completely up all the way across. And then when I meet up with this part here, I am then going to get my stairs, and I'm going to pop them upside down all the way across to the other wall. So I hope that makes a little bit of sense, but when I complete it I'll show you anyways, just so there's no confusion. Now, just one more thing to add as well, I just got it slightly mixed up. I'm just bringing this beam down slightly so it all connects up like this, as when we're covering it all up on the other side, the roof will then interfere with the stairs. So now, once I pop this all together, we no longer will have that issue, and that can go on as normal. But as you can see, I've now gone and covered pretty much everything up, obviously without stairs here, and we've still got the other stairs on this side. And I'm just going to add the last part over here, which is just adding this terracotta wall across and attaching it all together. So now it is time to once again talk about the blueprint for the 3rd floor. And what I'll be doing in the meantime is I'll also be adding in the extra level in here, and just reminded me I need to cover this up. And I'll also just show you the inside of the ballroom. So this has been covered up like so. Add the stairs, and I've just added 2 extra ones and normal slabs just going across like so. So now let's just quickly sort those small little parts out now and come back to it. So here we are, and what I've also done in the meantime is just build up the extra layer as we're nearly done. So now let's talk about blueprints. So I'm going to start at the back here, and I'm just going to do a full-on square with a 2-block gap around the entire area. And I'm just going to add 2 doors like so, and I'm going to add some more doors like this. So this is going to be what would be the master bathroom, and this will eventually be stairs going all the way up, but we'll come back to that later. So now it's time to talk about bedrooms. So one thing that I always thought about a manor house and them having bedrooms was always having an ensuite. So that was one of the main reasons why I wanted to make sure that there was enough rooms and also a bathroom attached to it. So let's go on to this side. So I've obviously got this terracotta wall kind of blocking it as this is now unleveled. So I'm going to make a 3-block gap right here, and I'm going to go out by 4 and attaching it like so. So this will then be a little bathroom, and then I'm going to go out again with another door, and I'm going to go across by 5 and then attaching it together. So now on the same kind of level, I'm going to go out by 3 and attaching this wall all the way across. I'm going to go exactly the same length on the other side. I'm going to add a little door here, and I'm going to go out by 3, and I'm going to go out up by 1. So now this can be attached across, and actually what I might do is I'm just going to go across a little bit further. So we've got a small bathroom. I've tried to aim it to be 3 by 4. so there's enough space for like a toilet, a shower, and a sink. But although we never use that in Minecraft, it's just purely for the realistic purposes. So now we're going to go across here, once again leaving a 3-block gap, and we're just going to go across the entire way. And then I'm going to meet up with this wall here and add a door right bang in the middle. And then at the end, leaving a 3-block gap and adding another door. So this is what we're currently looking at. And this area is purposely open. So in my final build, I decided to put a lot of bookcases in and had it hugging around the entire wall. You can do that if you want to, but if not, there's plenty of room for you to add bigger bedrooms or whatnot. And actually coming back to this part here, as you can see, we've got the bookcase, staircase coming up, but it's quite close with the roof. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to get some upside down mud stairs and adding it like so. So there's just a little bit of a free gap like this. And what I'll eventually do is probably add a little balcony area, or you can even cover it up like this. And you know what, I'm just going to leave that as of right now. And we'll also come back to this little section here. So now let's talk about the left side. Very easy, I must say. So I'm going to get my yellow wall and I'm going to go across by 3. Getting my red wall for a door, and then I'm going to bridge across to the point I have a 2-block gap. So then I'm going to go across again, leaving those 2-block gaps. And on 3 blocks across, I am then going to add a little bathroom. Like so. So this is a very, very small area. Actually, I think I might move this across just slightly, just so we've got extra room on the side. So one of the good things about having staircases next to a bedroom is I can also use space underneath it to expand a bathroom or any part of a room. So this will then eventually be stairs. So I'm going to start off by 3rd block. Actually, you know what? I might do it at the 4th block. So this will eventually go up like so. Let's talk about the ballroom area. So while we have been building this entire manor, we have gone with this style of having half slab space between the ceiling and the floor. Now, because of that, we don't actually have it for this room. So instead, because of the height of the roof that is given us, if I can get out here, we are actually going to raise this slightly. So across this area, so we are going to fill in this part here. So that's all nice together. I'm going to add some blue walls, so we're going to have some stairs that are going up. And I'm going to add another pair. And then I'm just going to use the yellow wall just for now, for like a little landing area. So I'm going to go out by 3. I'm going to go out by another 2 additional blocks and attaching it like this with a door going into this room. So now we've got this entire area to use up on this little raised platform like this. So then we can go and get our slabs and adding our floor like on this level instead. So this is in the final product, I use it as like a little activity room, a little kitchen area, because the kitchen and the living rooms are quite far away in this place, although it's not that far away, but overall it's quite a big place. So I could just picture all of Batman's sidekicks having a nice time, playing some games. It's definitely more private. This is a place that guests are not allowed to come up and just chat, have a little nice time, talking about what's going on in the world. Now, the final part is talking about this curved section. So, in the final rendition of the Wayne Manor, there are 2 additional columns that actually come out of the roof. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a little part. This is completely optional, but I wanted to make sure that you could access every single room in this house. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to replace this with blue wall and adding another section like this, and this will also be repeated on the same side. Then I'm going to have a 3-block gap. Now this is where I can turn this into a normal block of spruce, and having another block like so. So another staircase going up like this. Then this can all be attached to the other side. But we're going to stop here and we're going to add another staircase up like this. I'm going to go up by 3 times. Now this will look confusing, so once we build up the walls, we'll then focus on this little part in the middle with an extra landing and going up again by 2. So don't worry about this as of right now. I'm just laying it out so you just are aware of how it looks in the game. I will copy this onto the other side so mirrored. But what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to start building up all of these walls across up by 7. And we're going to come back again, talk about this part up here and this middle section here. Okay, so this is what we're looking at the moment. It is slightly more complex now, but what I've just done here is I've just started blocking up this section with some smooth sandstone, but again, we'll come back to that later. So I just want to move focus onto this section now because I've changed size of the room just ever so slightly, because we're going to go into the the roof, the walls are going to change just slightly different. So from the outside in, we're going to just get some smooth sandstone, and then I'm going to just grab some walls just by 2 and adding that extra sandstone on top. So now it looks a little bit different, but it's fine. It's just that little tiny bit that just doesn't look right, but we'll just have to deal with it. So I'm going to do it exactly the same side over here, like so. So now what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to cover this up with just normal smooth sandstone. You can try and use this little space for something. You can even make it go out just by 1 more. But I just wanted to make sure that I have like a nice little safe area, just so those things just don't start to interact with one another when they shouldn't have. So that is what it's looking like. And then from the top up here, we are going to add another window like so. So going for exactly the same design as before. And then the last part is we're going to go out by 1. And I'm just going to get my smooth sandstone stairs, add them like so, and get a wall attached across like that. So then that makes it a little bit more even and lines up with the other wall here. So from the inside, I'm just going to cover this entire area up here. And then I'm going to add in those windows. And then topping it off with those extra walls. So this is what it's looking like. Now we're on exactly the same eye level as the roof. And then that can be repeated onto the same side. So now we kind of see what it's looking like from up here. So I can just go in and start adding in the ceiling and the floor. So I'm going to do that all the way around this side. Again, we're going to leave this section in the middle to be completely open. And I've just marked out the rest of the stairs on this side as well, so that can be also put in. So I understand this could be a little bit confusing because this is when this design starts changing a little bit more. But I can assure you we're going to get that at the end. Now another part as well is coming down this section. We are going to bump into a bit of a mess really, where with this terracotta, the sandstone, and all of this will actually connect up with the outside building, so we can't really touch it. So what we can do is to make it a little bit nicer is I've just added these all together, and I'm just going to grab some more, and I'm just going to grab some stairs and add them like this. So now it's just lowering that little archway really. And what I'm going to end up doing is, with these blocks, I'm actually going to turn them into mud brick stairs. So you can actually end up doing this in your final build, because it just gives a little bit of a nicer look to it. And I mean, less of a blocky look. I mean, obviously it's quite dark in here, but you can always just add it just a little bit of more shape. So now I'm just going to go up here and, as usual, filling this all up with these upside down stairs, just so we don't have that interference with the walls. And the last part of the room is very, very simple. So while I'm doing this, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to move this wall slightly forwards, just so it starts to meet the stairs. And what we're going to do going forward now is just going to replace these little blocks here, is add all these walls up, and I'm going to add a little door at the end like so. And with the bathroom, very simple design, I'm just going to move it across like this and have maybe a door here, and then centering that door with a little corridor going into this room. So then that is our last bedroom sorted out. So I'm just going to cover all of this up like so, and this is basically the room. We are not going to bother adding in a bathroom because that is downstairs. What we're going to do is I'm just going to raise this up by one block, because of course we're going to have our mud bricks coming through. And this is a very simple design, so I'm just going to use a red block just so we can differentiate what is like the pillars and then what is the window part. So I'm going to add that there. I'm going to go out by 3 like this, out by 3 again, by 3, and continuing all around like this. So that is what this column part looks like, and I'm going to repeat it the same on this side. So by 3. And with the design of this wall, I do it slightly different this time. But what we're going to end up doing after this is we're going to end up filling in the roof. So this is just purely going to be mud brick slabs. Again, trying to save those blocks while you can. And what I'm going to do differently in this section here is I'm probably going to replace this block here with some stairs. So I'll end up showing you once I do it. So I'm just going to fill in half of this part here, and then I'll show you this part separately. Okay, so we filled out most of it. So what I'm going to do in the middle here is I'm going to get some mud brick stairs and adding them like this. So we're going to get like this little kind of arch coming through. And now it's time to talk about this part here. So I'm just going to fill in the rest of these blocks here with some smooth sandstone. Like that. And then what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to get some stairs, adding them upside down. So it's going to be a little bit roomy. I want to make sure that I can use as much of this floor as possible. So I'm going to fill this completely up. And then on this side, adding them across like that. Now you can do exactly the same if like mud stairs if you prefer doing it that way. And I'm also just going to add those upside down stairs just so we have a nice little curve area like this. So there we go. That's kind of what we're looking at with this room design. It is a bit odd, but that's why I use that for my enchantment room and my brewing station. So completely unrelated to Batman whatsoever. And I'm just going to, again, repeat it on the same side, start adding in these stairs. And then what I'm going to do over here is get some mud brick stairs and adding like a little trimming around this area. So we're trying to get as much space as possible for the ceiling. And I'm also going to repeat it across here. So if you don't want to, that's perfectly fine. But what I'm going to do at the end is I'm going to fill in the rest with some slabs. So now we've got a little gap up here. It makes it seem a little bit more like an attic kind of thing. But again, we're using up as much space as possible. There we go. That has been done on either side. I'm just going to quickly show you what it looks like with the stairs added in. So we've got a little landing, little area to cross between the two sections, and up at the top. So now it's time to talk about again the wall design. So it's very similar but also quite different. Instead of us adding a secondary layer of wool, we're just going to go up again by 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Making sure I got that correct. And I'm going to grab my smooth sandstone stairs once again, adding them upside down. And this time, when I'm adding in the walls, I'm going to straight up add glass panes like this. So this is going to be repeated on this part of the wall and the back part over here. The difference part on this section, so I'm just going to show you quickly here, is we're going to still continue doing the stairs, adding it like so, but this is going to be completely wall. So up like this. And although it has a little gap, personally it never really bothered me, but if you want to change that, you are more than welcome to. And I'm going to do that exactly the same across either side. And I'm going to copy that the same here. And I'm going to make sure that we're completely on the same Y level as the 2 back columns. Okay, there. That has been put down, and it is finally time to talk about the last part, which is the roof for each of these parts here. So again, it's very quite similar to what we've been doing before. So I'm just going to add an extra layer of sandstone blocks up like this. And I'm going to add some upside down stairs going all the way around like so. So again, you can put some upside down stairs on this side with the sandstone block in it again. I'll do that in one moment. I just want to show you the design for this. And what I'm going to do is I am going to go up again ever so slightly across here. And because I want to make sure that I'm mob proofing this as I'm building, I'm just going to top it up with some normal sandstone slabs. And each main corner I'll top up with, once again, another slab. And my stairs are going to come into the middle, like go so up by 2. I'm just going to, actually, I'm going to just do the entire thing on camera so you can follow along. Then I'm going to top it up with some stairs. I'm going to go up by 1 again. Topping it up once again with more stairs. And getting my mud bricks. And I'm going to get some slabs instead this time. And topping it up with that last mud brick there. Actually, I stand corrected. That will once again still be mud stairs with a brick on top. Now, this is what I'm going to eventually do later, but I'm going to get my brown carpet. And like I said about mob proofing, I want to make sure that no mobs are spawning anywhere on any surface. So this entire mud layer will be covered with carpets. Because that was one of my main priorities when building in survival. Making sure that nothing is spawning anywhere. So I'm going to copy that design onto this section here. But we're going to move on over to the main part. I'm going to build up all these pillars. I'm going to cross them with those smooth sandstone stairs. So we're going to go all the way around, and I'm going to top it off in just these corners only with sandstone, with slabs going across on each surface here. Now I'm going to just go from this side. I'm only going to show you it from one area. I'm going to go up by 3 this time. Mud stair, another block, mud stair, another block, another mud stair, and another block. I think that is the correct amount. And then I'm going to go up by one more time. And I'll top it up with a slab. And that should be the center of that part. So we're going up by 3, by 1, by 1, by 1, by 1, by 1 again with a slab, and a normal block on top. So instead of it going up by 3 on that first part, it's just going to go up by 2. And I'm just going to top that last bit with a slab there. So that is one of those columns done, and I apologize again for getting that just slightly mixed up. And by no surprise, I'm going to repeat that again on the other side. And have a look at this. Look how cool it's looking now. And I just want to quickly go inside each of these parts. So I've added in those upside down stairs, and I've just put it all together just so it makes a little nice square rather than blocks kind of being missing out. And in here, I've kind of just left it because, again, I used a little canopy inside. So I might just do a little kind of sketch just so you're aware of what I did. But moving on to this side, what I've done is I've just blocked off the ceiling like so. There's no point in me adding another layer of slabs because, well, I'm not going to be using this space unless if you prefer to add a room above this, which was actually something that I was thinking of originally. I was thinking maybe like a little private fighting room rather than it just being in the Batcave, but I never ended up doing that design. So I'm going to go back into this area here, and I'm just going to use my yellow wool and just kind of outline where I did the balcony area. So as I went in, I left a 2-block gap, and I pretty much went above the window level, crossed it over like this, and I think I may have added just a little bit more space on the side, but I do have an entire video on it, and I'll always link the playlist down below. Now our final pieces is just going through the house, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to add, everywhere that we've got this red wool, I'm going to add some dark oak doors and trapdoors. Because what we're going to do at the front is, what I wanted for my outside doors is having spruce. And I'm just also going to patch this up like this and like that. I'm just going to make sure that those slabs, trapdoors even, are lined up nicely. And that will also be done throughout the entire house. And I'm just going to come back up to this level because I completely forgot about it. And I'm just going to get my walls, and I'm just going to add a little bit of detail. So all the doors have been added in, and now I've put on some night vision on. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come into the Great Hall. So look how awesome this is, but there's so much more we can do with it. And although I'm not going to talk specifically about detailing, I'm just wanting to show you like the basics of like railings and whatnot. So what I'm going to do on this side is I'm going to have all my trapdoors facing out on this outer block. So this means we can still use this beam here, which will then be covered up with brown wool. And I'm going to do exactly the same on this side and on the other side too. So there we go, I've popped that all across here. And there's one thing that you may have realized watching the cinematic video is inside this room here, I actually have it as an indoor balcony. So I'm just going to quickly show you what you can do with this, but I'm just going to undo the changes just so if you want to keep it as a room like this, you can. So I'm going to get my blocks and I'm just going to get rid of them all across here. And I'm going to leave a 4-block gap, and I'm going to meet up with this wall here. So this is all going to be removed. And then I'm going to just pop these blocks together. And as you can see, I'm using a wall down here, so I'm just going to add an extra wall that will go up like so. And now I'm going to add in the railing. So on this side here, I'm just going to have it onto this block. And across on the other side, I'll have it facing out so it looks like it's still all attached together. We just won't be able to use the blocks on this part here. So that is just a simple little balcony inside, and you can put beams holding it up or whatnot. Or you can even get rid of this part, add a little bit more shape, stairs or whatnot. So there's a lot of possibilities of what you can do inside this place. But I mean, overall, I think this is pretty much a finished product. I think I might just quickly go over the basement because, again, this can be completely up to you in terms of where it is, what's going to be in it. So I'll just show you a quick layout. I won't completely decorate it, but we will be starting on all the way over this side under these stairs. So let's get out of F3 and I'll start making a little staircase going down. Okay, so I've done a very brief layout of the basement. So opening up these doors, we are looking straight down to the stairs, all the way down, and this is just very, very basic design. You can do this with beams, spruce wood, anything of the sort. But on these signs here, I have just placed how many blocks are each way. So we have this corridor that goes down, and we will go into a storage room. And then I wanted to add like just an additional part of the storage room, which is like more like a vault. So what I ended up doing in the final product was adding a little hidden painting, of course, hopping through there and having this little section like so. So we go across by 10 and by 3 with a 2-block gap in the middle. Then we have a little landing area that I put some books down, and I actually kind of have this more open with some more beams going up. And then we go into this little room here, which is the wine cellar. So I have a lot of barrels, scaffolding and whatnot added around. Then we're going to go all the way across this corridor, and our final room is the blacksmith armory kind of area. So this is a much bigger room with some interesting shapes, and you can put your armory on display. And there we have it. We have built the Arkham Wayne Manor. Obviously it's not completely block by block as it is in the game, but this was just a kind of style that I put together myself, inspired by this build. And as promised, I have made a schematic for this in both World Edit and in Litematica. So I'm going to go through with that with you in just a moment. And what I'm thinking of doing is, if you guys want to see some more parts of what I put in this build, such as like garden area, maybe the greenhouse, the fence/walls, please let me know and I can do that in another episode alongside other decor that I've put inside this building. But without further ado, let's quickly go on to the Litematica page, and I'm just going to quickly walk through with you on how to get this build yourself. So I've taken the time to create a Planet Minecraft page and adding in those photos from the game as well as the final version. And on the download part, you can get the World Edit version and the Litematica version in both empty and furnished, which is what I used in my original build. And I'm just going to quickly scroll down in the description just so you guys can have a quick look and have a look at all the different types of resource packs that I've used and whatnot. But without that being said, I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video and even asking me to do it myself. I never thought I would actually build a tutorial video for this build. I spent so long on it and it's been such a nice time. But thank you so much guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye!